Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, I got a super fun, super exciting, and completely unexpected video for you guys today, and that is because a team is remaking Sonic the Black Knight on PC. And to say that Sonic the Black Knight is a rough game on the Wii would be an understatement. It has a lot of good ideas, but it definitely doesn't execute on many of them whatsoever, and it's one of those things. In this era, Sonic Team and Sega always had some fun, innovative ideas as what Sonic could do, but unfortunately their execution never really lived up to the idea, and we ended up with a string of some of the worst 3D Sonic games ever made. But I love that the fan dev community out there thinks to themselves, well, Sega had a good idea, they just couldn't execute on it, so maybe we can go back into the game and try to figure out exactly what wasn't working and fix it from there. Just so you know, this is an alpha demo, so it isn't going to be indicative of the final quality, but I will say, at least visually, this thing absolutely looks great. It looks definitely a lot better than the Wii version of the game. This was a very weird era for Sonic as well, because this game doesn't have Dr. Eggman in it. The villains are basically completely separate, kind of feeling a little bit more like some of the modern Sonic games that try to play around with the same formula. And I remember when this thing was being previewed on Wii, I thought to myself, that doesn't really look like a direction Sonic should be going in, and I definitely still agree, at least in that respect. But taking fans and actually having them redo this game, bring it over to PC, and improving basically everything could actually take a game that I would consider a bad game and probably make it pretty good. And honestly, that really is the fun thing about retro gaming in general. There's always a person or there's always a group out there that are willing to go ahead and take a look at one of their favorite games that not many people like and try to figure out how to make it better for you. Because that really is the thing. Sonic and the Black Knight isn't a completely unredeemable game. Levels like this right here look absolutely stunning in this new version, and I would say, as far as art style is concerned, Sega had a lot of fun with this one. That is the thing. Sonic and the Black Knight always looked like a very interesting game. It just didn't really play like a very interesting game. And it's one of those things. Visuals can only take a game so far. After that, you have to have the gameplay to match, and Sonic and the Black Knight just couldn't figure that one out. Now, I'm not saying remaking this game on PC is going to fix all of the design issues, because of course if you're remaking the game, you still have the same level structure, the same story structure, and everything else. And even though this is less buggy than the actual Wii version of the game, somehow even in alpha status, it is still a work in progress, so you are going to see some bugs. But of course it is a Sonic game after all. I don't think there is a single Sonic game in 3D that isn't riddled with bugs here and there. Even some of the newest best ones still have some very weird behavior. But you tell me down below in the comments so far, is this something that you're interested in and want to check out? I did leave a link to the itch page in the description below. Just remember, again, this is not a final product, it's an alpha demo, and the developer wants feedback on people's experiences playing it so that they can better develop it in the future. And this is the type of thing I absolutely advocate for, whether it's the Sonic 06 Recomp project, whether it's stuff like Unleashed on 360, these games still have a lot of fun in them, even if they aren't perfect, and we are seeing that fans are able to actually eke out a little bit more of the fun in the actual game structure in and of itself. And that really is a benefit to the community, because Sonic Team definitely needs help here and there, and fans seem to be able to figure out how to do that. And it's one of those things, sometimes I get comments asking why people would spend their time doing stuff like this, and the reality is, people get to decide how to spend their time doing anything they want. If someone out there or a team of someone is a huge fan of Sonic the Black Knight, and they think to themselves they could do a better job of it, I absolutely advocate for stuff like that happening. Because even in Alpha, I do think they've actually done a better job compared to what Sega did here, and that really is kind of fun. Because think of it this way, think of all of the different 3D Sonic games that exist, and think of all of them were actually successful for Sega. Honestly, I feel like Sega's batting under 500 at this point in time, and for your mainline franchise, for your mascot character, that really isn't good odds whatsoever. And that's the situation here. Sonic and the Black Knight, right after Sonic and the Secret Rings, it had a good premise, it had a good conceit, it just couldn't execute on its overall gameplay design, and that was something that really made people feel like Sonic the Hedgehog had completely lost his way, although we had colors around the same time, and I think that is one of the best Sonic 3D games out there. But you leave me a comment down below and you tell me, of all the Sonic games in 3D, which one is your favorite? I still have to go with the original Sonic Adventure, but I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of good votes. But first, soundtrack sample time, 45 seconds, and I'll be right back with a lot more Sonic in this new project.
You can swing your sword even now.
I mean, the Unreal segments in any Sonic game have always been fun, and they're no different here in Sonic and the Black Knight, whether you're on the original version of the game or now on this alpha version of the PC remake. But I will say one of the number one things that was a downside of the Wii version was the lag in the controls, especially in the sword. Kind of felt like you actually asked it to swing the sword, and then the game would take like 15-20 frames to actually even execute on that. It just always felt laggy and a little bit muddy in the controls, and that's something that definitely is being fixed up here. Now again, as an alpha, the control of Sonic feels a little bit off compared to the regular game, but as a proof of concept, absolutely does work. But you will see here something weird just happened. Those warthogs just absolutely threw Sonic into the ether. So if you're looking for some classic Sonic bugs, this alpha is still going to have it. But don't think I'm saying that in a negative way against the developers. Again, this is just a proof of concept of them playing around with the overall formula. And I'll say at this point in time, seeing bugs in a Sonic game is kind of what you want to take a look at. But I will say, as far as the visuals are concerned, I think that's where this project is excelling the most, outside of the fact that there isn't really that much latency in the controls whatsoever. Whether you're in the daytime or the nighttime, this game looks really good, and if it released today, I think you'd be talking about like 7.5 or 8 out of 10 in the visual department. It isn't perfect, but again, it's one of those things that isn't finished, so you can't really judge it. If you notice, every once in a while there is a flickering texture on some of the pillars. This seems to be having a little bit of trouble loading in or staying there persistently. But these are the type of projects that I really do think are going to benefit retro gaming in the future. And if you don't believe it, Wii is definitely retro at this point in time. If it's old enough to drive a car, it's retro in my opinion. But you tell me down below, the Wii, is that retro now? Or is it still a modern system? Maybe the SD versus HD delineation will help you guys decide that one. But there's so many incredible games out there, not only in the Sonic franchise, but just in general, that basically really didn't live up to their potential. And you see so many games get modded, fixed up, have new features put in, performance patches and everything else. Now we're kind of in that frontier where people are trying to take bad games and actually make them good. And the reality situation is, so long as that game has a good idea, some interesting visuals, or is trying to do something unique, then there is enough meat on the bone for developers to go in and decide for themselves, we can actually make the game that Sega was intending. Now I'm not saying that they're foolhardy enough to think that they're Sega with a gigantic development house, but sometimes a few people with a dream can do a better job than a multinational company who doesn't really be able to tell when they're making mistakes. We're going to do one more soundtrack sample because this game always had great music. 45 seconds, I'll come back and tell you what I want to see from this demo in the future. But enjoy.
It's no use! Take this!
Just so you know, if you don't want to play this demo, it only includes the Misty Lake stages of Sonic the Black Knight. Nothing else has been made in yet. The developer simply states that he wants more people to actually play around with this. That way they can get an idea of what is working, what isn't working. They can improve that before they start adding in more of the game. And I would say, I would definitely love to feel Sonic controls get a little bit more cleaned up and run a little bit smoother. It's one of those things that kind of feels like Sonic and not at the same time. But as far as actually converting one area of Sonic and the Black Knight over to PC, I think this one definitely is successful. It looks like the game, it feels like the game for the most part, and it definitely sounds like the game. And there's nothing so broken about Sonic and the Black Knight where you couldn't improve it, fix it up, and make a relatively good game out of it. Now, of course, it's not going to take it from a 5 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10, but it could take it comfortably into like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10 as far as games are concerned. And we always see the Sonic community doing newer and weirder and more amazing things with the franchise because they absolutely love it. So I'm really not surprised that something like Sonic and the Black Knight is getting a PC port. And at least with this model here on the horse top, yeah, I absolutely think that this just looks incredible. And I'd probably say maybe not looking exactly modern or current gen, but maybe back in like PlayStation 4 or Xbox One X era of graphics. And with the fog effect and everything else, this game has a vibe, it has an interesting conceit, and it has enough meat on the bone to definitely make this a worthy candidate to get a PC port. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me, if you could take one Wii game and port it over to PC with all the modern trappings, what would it be? Personally, I just don't really have a vote for that one because it is 5 in the morning when I'm recording this, because my dog Gizmo decided he had to get up not once, not twice, but 3 times overnight, so my brain is basically mush and I'm just doing this because I got nothing else to do. See you guys next time. Bye bye.